Welcome csc121. This is our EX12, our intro to functions. And again, this is for spring 2020. And this first link that you get to is going to be almost completed for you. So it's going to be just doing what we've done in the past without a function first. We have an input, pp equals int. We're going to do possible points, earn points. We've done that enough. I didn't want you to have to do it over. And what I'll do first is I'll fork this, and I have to hit the fork button here since it's my account. So I'll fork it, and then I'll edit it, and I'll put my last name. You would normally have a fork button up here. I'll close that up, and we have a simple setup here. We have two inputs, possible points and earn points. And we're going to enter them as integers because we're going to do math. Now let's do the math. We'll just have something called score, and it's always the small divided by the large. So it's always going to be the EP divided by the PP. So the 9 out of 10, it's going to be 10 into 9 to get a 0.9%, which is going to be 90%. And then what you want to do is multiply by 100, so it's no longer 0.9, so it's 90. And then we can even round it off too. We could do a separate assignment here of score and just round it. You could round it any way you want. We'll just round it to 1. We'll round it to the whole number, so if it's 0.5, it'll go up. You know, if it's 85.5, it'll go up to 86, and so on. So we're just going to round ourselves here. We're going to round score. So it's looking for an integer to put in here, or it's actually looking for a float to put in here so it can round it. So it's looking for something with a decimal. Now I'm getting a red wavy line here because I have little curly braces and I have nothing in it yet. And obviously we're going to put score in there. So that's what's going to happen. So this is pretty easy. We've done this many times already with our test scores and all that. So we have a value we're going to enter, two values we're going to enter, we're going to get the math done, we're going to round it, and then we're going to print it out. And it's going to look something like this. We'll do 8 out of 10. So we'll do 10 for possible points, and then we'll do 8, and it should come out to 80. Your score is 80%. So we've done that. And all we're doing here is introducing a function. And what we're going to do first is just put this in a function. So I'm just going to say def, and our function is going to be calc score. We'll calculate the score because that's what it's doing. So I'll put an empty parentheses right now because I don't think we're using arguments or parameters yet. And then everything in a function, just like a loop, has to be indented to be inside the function. So this is our function definition. So I'll put this in here, and I'll put this in here. So all this stuff is being created as local variables inside here. That's why I'm getting a wavy line here, because it's saying undefined name score. And you might think, well, why is it undefined? And that's because it's being assigned or defined inside the function, and then it's coming out here globally. So it's local, and then it's coming out globally, which doesn't necessarily work. So we have to fix that somehow. So that's why sometimes we'll use a return statement, or you could put the print statement right inside. You could just do something like this. You could move the print statement. I'll just cut it and just put it here, and we could print the statement inside. You won't always want to do that, but we can do that. And so if we run it now, what's going to happen is nothing. It's not even doing anything. It's not even giving us our input. That's because it's just a function definition. We have to call our function. The function call is sometimes called the invocation. I sometimes say run the function, but it's really calling the function. So we're going to put a function call. Now the function call can't be inside the function definition. So I'm going to backspace here and make sure I'm at the same level. And also the function definition has to come before the function call. You have to define the function first, so Python knows there's a function there that's going to be called, and then you call it. And then you call it with the same name that the function is. Right here it is, calc score. And you do have to put the parentheses there. And we will use those parentheses when we have arguments and parameters, but we do not right now. So that is the function call. So you could put a little comment here if you want, function call, just so you know that's what it is. And that's usually the way it'll be set up. And I'll run it. And now it should run the function. Now our code's going to come down here and say, okay, oh, there's a function. Let me look for a function call, and it finds it. Then it's going to say, okay, let's do the stuff that the function wants us to do. So we're going to enter the points, and I'll do 8 again, and then it'll print it out because it's doing everything in there. Now there's going to be some things we're going to have to do. If you don't want to print out the statement, sometimes you might want to print statement outside the function. And we might have to return a value because we can't always bring the local variable out and have it be a global variable. So that's something we're going to have to focus on next. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to cut this out of here again, and we'll put this back. And we still want to call the function. Now, one thing we want to do is we actually want to return score because we're getting score out of here. That's the value that we're getting from this. So what we want to do is we want to get some what's called fruit from the function, and we'll go over that in some other exercises. But right now, that's just saying score equals round score. So we're getting score from here, but we want to implicitly tell Python that we're getting something from this function. So that's why we're going to use a return. And we can't just use return. Return will just end the function. We want to say return score. So that's what we're going to get out of that. And that means when the function gets calculated, it's going to return that number. So you could really just do this. Now, this is set up for variables right here, but you could really, let's see if we could do this first. What if we put the function call in here? So let me just cut it, see if we could put the function call as a variable and see what happens. And we can put in a 10, we can put in an 8, and it says, and it works. So we're actually putting the function call in as the variable because the function, the fruit of the function is actually 80. Whatever's getting returned here is actually what that fruit of the function is. Now this is kind of confusing doing this because we're burying the function call inside a print statement. So sometimes what you might want to do is have a variable represent the function call. So I'll just say like result. I won't say score again because I'm already using score. So I'll say result equals, and I'll put the function call here. So result is going to be whatever the function call returns, and the function call is going to return score. So result is now going to go here. So we could put result here, and that'll go there. So this is actually a nice way to do it because we're still calling the function. We're saying whatever is returned to the function is going to be held as result, and then we're just going to print the result. So it's holding the fruit of the function. They refer to this as fruitful function. So when you return a value that's being calculated from a function, you could print it out. So we just want to return the value, and we're just holding the value of the function call here. So that makes a little more sense. It makes our print statements a little easier to print out instead of trying to put a function call inside a print statement and putting it inside of curly braces as if it's a variable, even though it does treat it that way. Now we can run this through, and I can still put my numbers in here, and now it'll print that out. Now it knows to hold that value as whatever's returned from the function and print it out. Now, next what we're going to do with this is we're going to focus on arguments and parameters and see if we can do this without actually inputting. Now, it makes more sense to input, but we're also going to try and see if we can send a function with actual values in it and have it return that way. So I'm going to do that in part 2 of this.